One theme that dominated this election and brought out a really ugly side of the American society was immigration. But what has been surprising that there has been a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, not surprising enthusiasm in India about Donald Trump, and even amongst American diaspora, for that matter. Leaders of Indian origin, despite all the rhetoric against immigration, were also the faces of Donald Trump's campaign. Miss Simran, what does this campaign and the role that Indian Americans played tell us about the rising dominance of maybe the diaspora in the US?
So, one, I think in India we got a little excited and carried away when Kamala Harris stepped forward to be the Democrat contention. I think it was a little misplaced for all of us to expect that Kamala Harris, because she has some Indian origin, there would be a liking or there would be a policy shift or she would be biased towards India. I think what we also saw during her campaign, she really didn't identify herself as an American Indian or an Indian American. She chose. I think she made this choice very in a very sensible political fashion. She chose to play on her African heritage more than her Indian heritage. So I think one mistake is that I don't know about others, but I think for people like me, we who have observed American politics, I think we all got a little carried away. That because her mother went from India and she has this Indian connection, maybe this is something good for us. And this is something I have said again and again, that even if she became the president, she would have been the president of the United States of America, and she would have taken decisions and she would have followed policy which would benefit the United States. Whether it hurts India or it benefits India, I think is maybe not even an existent thought. I think the only factor that the Indian diaspora or the Indian Americans, and we've seen the split in the US also. Traditionally, the Indian Americans have favored the Democrats, but the recent polls have shown that a lot of young Indians who are second generation, who are third generation, who are getting more active politically, have also chosen to go on the Republican side. So I think it's important to understand that maybe the first generation has issues which are different. By the time you are a second generation, third generation, and then you are more American than you are Indian. You visited India maybe once or twice in your lifetime, and you really don't have that connection apart from the fact that, oh, my grandfather came from some part of India. So I think we, sitting in India, when we observe these trends, we have to be very careful and remember that while, yes, this is the Indian diaspora and they have a certain connection with India, they are at the end of the day a second generation, third generation, more strongly American. And I think Kamala Harris also thought about it and she came forward during her campaign. I think it was her African American heritage that she spoke about much more. She emphasized it much more. And I think the reason was also very political. Yes, we have Indian Americans in the US who are going to vote, but there is a much larger African American population that is going to vote. So at the end of the day, she took a political call. And I think the contribution of the Indian diaspora has been immense. I think I've always said that the first generation, maybe the issues are more basic. It's you going for education and jobs. By the time you come to the second or the third generation, you're politically more active. You want to be a part of the political structure of the US. That is something we have seen in Kamala. That is something we also see in J.D. Vance's wife. She's also of Indian origin. But I think that is hardly one, because the vice president is not that important a part of the US executive power. I don't think J.D. Vance having a wife who's again Indian origin is going to play any major part in how the US deals with India. So yes, I think the good part is that the Indian diaspora is doing well. They are also politically active, but I don't think we should get carried away. I mean, at the end of the day, they are all Americans today.